in the moment. I should just relax about it. They have time for me.
I feel like it's like chickens, which is
chickens.
They're more scared of us than we are of them, but I don't think they're scared on the other end.
They're not scared.
They're not scared. No, we are. We're the chickens.
Someone who works as a receptionist doesn't mind the phone.
Hello, Eepers. Welcome to another episode of Extra English Podcast with Misha
and Larissa. We're two Canadian English teachers talking about life in Canada, our lives, and anything else that might interest us. And hopefully will interest you too.
So join us for another conversation.
Today, let's talk about phones.
Phones, great.
Like cell phones, landlines, talking on them.
Texting.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Good plan.
Mostly because I'm not a fan.
This is going to be a very one-sided because neither of us love the phone.
I don't love the phone.
No.
And I'm so glad we've moved to a time in at least the history of our culture where they don't really have to talk on the phone very much.
It was not the case when we were kids.
No,
there weren't a lot of options. What were you going to do? Send a fax?
I remember pre-fax.
What was before fax?
Letters.
I have sent a lot more letters than I've ever sent faxes, to be fair.
Yeah.
When we were kids, there were no cell phones.
No.
Of course.
Not a single cell phone.
No.
And the first time I ever saw any kind of mobile phone was a car phone.
Yes.
And it was big. It connected to the cigarette lighter.
Yeah.
In the car. And it was really big. And I remember the person saying, this is for emergencies only. Like, it's really expensive. You don't touch it unless, we really need it. Because everything was expensive. Like, calling on a phone to another city was expensive.
When I first traveled overseas, we would call back home via, a phone booth. Yeah. I don't know what else. We were in India, my brother and I think it used to say... there was an acronym. Anyways, and it was expensive. So even though our parents, both their children were on the other side of the world, they really worried about our safety and missed us. But we would only talk to them every, once a week, something like that, because it cost a lot of money.
What year was that?
2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I lived in Chile for a short time in 2004.
Okay.
I believe. Time is funny.
In some ways, that sounds like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And then when you do the math.
It might have been 2005. I don't know. Around that time. Around the same time. And I didn't have to go to a phone booth because I was staying in kind of a homestay situation. So there was a phone in the house, but my parents we would plan by email when they were going to call, and they had to get a special card, international calling card.
Yes, we had one of those. I'd totally forgotten about it until you just mentioned it.
Yeah. So we would prearrange it, and they would be a set amount of time, and then we would call, and that would be it. Yeah, once a week or maybe not even.
Yeah. Strange. What different times now?
Unbelievable. Now, how often do you video chat with somebody in another country?
Yeah.
Regularly.
Daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, all the time.
And it's the cost of the internet only. It's free.
It's cheap.
And so available.
So available.
Yeah.
But when we were kids, it was old school, memorizing phone numbers. I can still remember my best friend when I was at elementary school, or her phone number still in there. What else could that brain space be used for if I could only get some of the old stuff moseying on?
I think that actually was probably good for our brains.
I think
to have to remember things like that. I always found that challenging. I knew my house number. I knew my best friend. I had a few numbers, but I didn't really remember very many of them. But I think that's something that is good for the human mind not to rely on everything being just there in your phone.
Although, I don't know, is your memory, I feel like no matter how much I practice remembering things, I don't get any better at it. Not then, not now. I need the phone to tell me. I will miss every appointment that exists without the phone.
Yeah. But if we didn't have phones, we would find a way.
You'd have a paper calendar.
Yes.
You'd have a a phone book with numbers,
Yes.
right?
Okay. So I don't know about you, but the phone book
Yeah.
used to come. How often would the phone book come?
What I think once a year. Do you
Yeah,
think?
that seems about right.
Yeah.
And it would be depending on where you lived, thick or thin.
Like inches thick. Mm-hmm. Thin paper.
And to not have your number in there, you had to pay.
Yes. All these things I've forgotten. That's true. You wanted privacy, but also why would you? I mean, there are reasons you wouldn't want your phone number, I suppose.
But we never considered them.
No,
when
because
I
I
was
think
young.
we wanted people to be able to find us.
Of course. Yeah. It would list first initial, last name, and address. Would it have address?
I don't think so. Address?
No, maybe
I'll have
not.
to double check. I don't think so.
Where can we find a phone book?
Do they even exist? They don't exist anymore, do you think?
Recently, I got a Yellow Pages in the mail.
Oh, so the yellow pages, the pages for people's homes were white. And then the yellow pages was businesses.
Yeah.
Although people would pay to advertise their business in the homes section.
Yeah. And I feel like there were also blue pages for government kind of things. And sometimes they would all come in one. You would have the Yellow Pages in the back of the phone book, but I got just a local listing of businesses recently in the mail, and I put it like I kept it, and then I thought, why am I keeping this?
100%.
So then I recycled it.
You will Google. That is too funny.
Yeah, I like the nostalgia of it, but I'm not going to use it, so it doesn't need to take up space.
Yeah. But we used to all have them. Ours was in a drawer by the kitchen phone.
Yes.
We had two phones. One on the main floor in the kitchen.
Okay.
Very practical place for a phone.
Yeah.
And the other was upstairs, although I don't remember where. Maybe my parents' bedroom. Anyway, by the kitchen phone was the white pages.
Yeah.
And I used it on a regular
course,
basis.
yeah.
Right? If I forgot my friend's phone number, of course I know their last name. Flip through the thousands of pages. You find it. Alphabetical order.
That was also, I think we were better at dictionary skills because we had phone book skills.
We're just getting dumber. Unfortunately. No, I agree. All that kind of stuff. You know, when I got my job at the library, I had to put things in alphabetical order. Phone book would have helped me develop that skill.
Yes, it would have. Instead, did you sing the alphabet in your head?
Now I'm singing the alphabet in my head.
Yeah, I have to admit, sometimes I do. Like, some of the parts of the alphabet are very clear in my head of how they go in order, but there's a few when I have to just sing.
LMNOP. Just kind of.
Q-R-S. Yeah, okay.
One day I got a phone call from this, I was in high school, and there was this boy I knew in my grade, and he phoned me, and I hadn't given him my phone number.
Oh.
But he told me he just called every person with my last name. Which also is hilarious because in the town I grew up in, if you've listened to our first episode, you know I come from an Amish Mennonite background. It's a cultural group. My hometown is full of that cultural group, and my last name is very common. There would have been hundreds. But he said he asked everyone who picked up the phone, do you know Misha? And then eventually he got my uncle.
Oh.
And my uncle was like, yeah, her number's this one. So that's so funny.
So he didn't have to go through the whole
He didn't have to go. He got quick enough. He would have got to a relative. But also a bit weird. Like, if I didn't give you my number, maybe I don't want you to call me.
You couldn't help it, though. If it was in the phone book.
Yeah. This is why you would pay, not...
This is the reason.
No, it was fine, actually. We had a pleasant conversation.
So speaking about people calling, did you spend a lot of time as a young person, a teenager, maybe a tween, on the phone?
I mean, certainly way more than I have spent in the last 10 years of my life.
Yep.
I was never really, as we mentioned, I don't love talking on the phone. I don't love it now. I didn't love it then. But I do feel like it was kind of a more common pastime back then.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you wanted to socialize, yeah. So I would have spent time, certainly, talking on the phone. But also, you couldn't do it in private. Right? Like it was the kitchen phone.
Yeah.
So if I was having a conversation with my friend, my whole family was hearing it.
Yeah.
Which was fine. I didn't have anything super scandalous to talk about, but also it's a different vibe than just chatting with a friend.
Yeah. After a while, houses started getting multiple lines.
That's right.
So then you would have a different ring tone.
Yes.
So you'd know which, like, are you calling for the kids? Are you calling for the
Yeah.
parents? Or just multiple, same line, but multiple phones. So you
That's
could
right.
be in a more private space if you wanted.
This reminds me of, I just had a memory of something we don't do anymore, which is I would pick up the phone. It might be for my mom, say, and you would cover the handle and then shout. I haven't done that in a long time. Mom, the phone.
Yeah. And you hope you covered it well enough or the person on the other end would get an earful.
That's right.
Yeah.
What did you spend a lot of time on the phone? Were
I
you
also didn't really love it. No, it was a means to an end for me. I'd rather, talk to somebody in person. Also, I had a fairly large family, and so there was always someone to talk to at home.
That's nice.
Yeah, and I just kind of had the same routine. No, it wasn't part of my free time activities.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that continued on to this day. This is not diagnosable, but I feel like I have a mild phobia of making phone calls. I really dislike it. I'm happy when someone calls me.
Yes.
I think that's lovely when
Oh,
I
no,
want to talk to them.
I don't like that. If you call me, I will watch it ring and wait until it's done ringing so I can continue using my phone. So I'm with you.
Oh, I hate making appointments on the phone. One time I waited like 6 months more than I wanted to get my hair cut because I didn't want to call them to make the appointment. Why? It's ridiculous. But they didn't have, their online booking system was broken and I just, fine.
Why doesn't everybody I'm currently postponing every day calling my dentist back because I know I have a filling. I have cavity that needs a filling.
Yeah.
They know it. I know it. There's no appointment on the books. And they called me last week and left a message saying, hey, we don't have an appointment. Give us a call. And every day I'm like, okay, tomorrow. And then today I'm going to do it tomorrow.
Yep.
So check back in.
Tomorrow always comes.
Right?
I mean, there's always a tomorrow.
Tomorrow's Friday in the time we're recording this. So it feels like
You better.
end of the week,
Yeah,
right?
you better make tomorrow the actual tomorrow.
But like, what's the big deal?
What's the big deal?
I mean, why can't I just pick up the phone and call the
Oh, I
dentist?
thought you meant about the... Like,
No,
you want
that-
to get your cavity filled.
I do. I do want to get that cavity filled.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so hard. For me, appointments especially I find stressful because my calendar is also on my phone. So if I'm talking on the phone, how am I accessing my calendar to make the appointment? And it feels like there's pressure. I don't want to take their time and I have to decide in the moment. I should just relax about it. They have time for me.
I feel like it's like chickens, which is
Chickens.
actually no, I take it back. I was gonna say they're more scared of us than we are of them, but I don't think they're scared on the other end.
They're not scared.
They're not scared.
No,
We are. We're the chickens.
Someone who works as a receptionist doesn't mind the phone.
Okay, but when I was in high school,
Yeah.
as we've mentioned previously, hopefully you've listened to every single episode we've recorded. You'll have all the context. I worked at a library in high school.
Yes.
And I regularly had to phone people. Right? Your book is here, or your book is late, or whatever.
Yeah.
It did help me get a little more used to it because it was like a regular part of my job. But I was the person on the other end of the phone.
And you didn't love it.
And I didn't love it.
But if that was going to be your lifelong career, don't you think you'd want to do something that feels less
Well, I
stressful?
don't do that for a lifetime career.
Yeah. That's
We
where I'm
never
getting.
have to use the phone in our job.
Never.
Almost never.
What even is a phone?
Who needs them? Do you know I currently have a landline?
Whoa.
Yes. In the year 2020.
Six?
Well, now it's 2020.
Okay, I'm like-
But I had to buy a new landline phone
Okay.
in 2020 because I moved into my condo. My condo's a very old building. And our
Yes.
intercom system is landline only.
Amazing.
Right? It just has never been updated. These days, mostly you can get the front door buzzer system, an intercom system to call to your cell phone.
Cell phone, yeah.
But no, ours is a landline. So I had to buy a phone. So I found one that was kind of retro because
Yes.
my building is retro. And actually I kind of like it. And my son loves it. He's 3. And when people buzz up, he like jumps for joy because he loves to answer the phone and say hello. And then I press the button.
Do you use it for anything besides opening the door?
No, it doesn't have any functional, like I don't pay for,
Okay.
I don't even know how you do that. I'm sure people have landlines that
Yes.
function.
I think so.
But
Or are
mine
they all
doesn't.
internet based? So in the
Oh, good
pandemic,
question.
was it? It was around 2022, around
Yeah.
that time. I don't remember. We decided to get like a phone
Yeah.
in our apartment at the time, but we didn't get a line installed. We just did it through the internet. It was VoIP, like
Yes.
voice over
What
internet
was
protocol.
what was your reasoning?
What was the reasoning? I don't know. I think someone needed a number for a job or something
I see.
that wasn't a mobile. Yeah,
Or maybe for your kids before they have cell phones?
maybe.
I was thinking it would be
I don't
kind
wonder.
of my son's not old enough yet to need a phone, but I have heard of that as a strategy to kind of delay
Yeah.
the cell phone use, which has some troubles. So
But also, it helps. Like, there's skills that kids these days don't have,
it's true.
like picking up the phone or talking to someone, or like, there's something nice about having a communal phone for
That's
the
true.
whole family,
I agree.
where you know who's calling and you all know each other, and like, is so and so there? No, they're not, and take a message. Like,
That's right.
something that my kids have never done.
No, yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
That reminds me, we talked about the white pages, yellow pages, the big phone book.
Yeah.
But didn't your family also have like a family phone book where you would write down, also in alphabetical order, usually tabs for every letter, and you'd write people's numbers in there?
I don't think we had one because my mother is really good with numbers.
Oh, really? She just remembered all those?
Not just phone numbers, but numbers.
Oh my gosh.
She just loves numbers. She doesn't forget a birthday. She doesn't forget a phone number. So we didn't have that book, but I think it's just
Okay,
because we relied on
interesting.
her to be the book.
Would you just ask her what's Aunt so-and-so's number?
Well, I wouldn't call Aunt so-and-so.
Problem solved. Well, we had one, and it was over the years, it would be written in, and then like a number would be scratched out because someone got a new one, and it was kind of fun.
I do like that.
Yeah. When I moved out on my own, I got one too
Oh, yeah.
for the same
Well,
reason.
I would have had to also, so I didn't have my mom's brain with me anymore.
You just had to remember her number,
you
and then
go.
you would always call her first. Speaking of when I moved out on my own, which was when I was just 19.
Ooh, so young.
That's sort of maybe an average age
Maybe.
for Canadian. I don't know. I was
Back
starting
then-
university.
Back then, yes.
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 That's right.
These days, I feel like it's getting later and later because life is expensive.
Life is expensive. Anyway, I moved to another city. In fact, I grew up in a very small town, and I moved to Montreal, which is a big city.
Oh,
Yes.
what a change. We need
Big
to talk about
change.
that someday. I've
We'll
got questions.
I have stories. So my parents gave me a cell phone
Yeah.
for safety, right? If I was going to be out at night by myself in the city and whatever. But at the time it was pay as you go. So you didn't have, like now I pay so much a month and I get unlimited calling and texting and some data. But at the time you would pay for like 30 minutes of talking time.
Yeah.
So I would always keep about that much on because I didn't actually use it. I had a landline that I used to talk to people.
Yeah.
The cell phone was just in case. I would bring it with me sometimes when I went out at night. I'm saying sometimes because I remember a night I got home late because I was young. We went out dancing. I got home at 4 a.m. or something, and there were 5 messages on my landline
From your
my
mom?
mom.
Oh.
And the last one, like 3:30 in the morning, she's like, "I'm not worried, but
But I'm worried.
I should have brought my cell phone
You
with me."
should have.
Yeah.
Your poor mama.
She's arrived.
My first cell phone I got because I'm older than you, and so I'm
Slightly.
slightly. So I didn't get one when I first moved out or anything like that. But then there came a point in time when I had a very unreliable vehicle,
Oh,
and I didn't trust it to get me from point A to point B all the time. So same as you,
Yeah.
pay as you go, very minimal use, but it was really for 911.
yeah.
Just in
Emergency
case.
phone.
Yep.
It's good to
just
have.
in case.
Did you ever need to use it?
Well, not for an emergency.
Yeah, good.
But I did use it once because I was going to someone's house and there was flooding on the way.
Oh,
And I didn't know an alternate route
Yes.
to get there. So I had to call and say, "Can you talk me through the directions?" Because, I mean, we didn't have GPS either.
It was before Google Maps and even before MapQuest.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, back in the day.
So if I had to go somewhere, I would like make a paper map.
Yeah.
But I didn't need a paper map for this. I knew the directions till the flooding.
So did you call someone to?
I did call and we worked it all out. I got there. It was fine.
That's good. It came in handy.
It did.
Yeah. I had a funny story with my cell phone in university. So I had this phone only for emergencies. I used my landline for actual calling, and everyone who knew me knew that. No one would ever call me on my cell phone. But one day this guy was like flirting with me and asked for my number. Instead of just saying no, which I could have said, I gave him my cell phone number because I know I never use that. So I thought, okay, here's a way to like get him to leave me alone. Anyway, he called a lot. I think he called 3 times the first day. And then over the weekend, and then I just kept watching these calls come into my cell phone. And I think it really frustrated him that I never answered. But of course I'm not going to after you call me 3 times in one day.
And even now you said if someone calls you, just watch it ring. Like this hasn't changed.
Even now, exactly. And then he started calling me from different numbers. But I knew it was all him because nobody else ever would have used that number who actually knew me.
So have you now learned to just say no?
I think I could say no, yeah. This doesn't happen as often as it once did.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, better just to say no. But also, it came in handy.
It did, yes.
Right? If I'd given him my real number.
I've heard that some people have an alternate email address for something similar.
Oh,
like there's
clever.
the email address they use for everything, and then sometimes a website will ask you to verify through something. And if you think they're going to send you spam in the future, they have this secondary email address for that. It's your idea.
It's the 2026 version of my unused cell phone. Yeah. I like it. But yeah, now I would just watch it ring too.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if my mom calls, I will pick up.
Okay.
And the first thing she would say is, it's not an emergency.
Okay, that's good.
Because I would assume if she's calling, it's an emergency.
Well, if anybody calls, I assume it's an emergency. Right? Usually the first thing I ask is, are you okay?
Why aren't you texting me?
So that's really interesting. I think this is probably true for certainly our generation and younger.
Yes.
We would expect a text before a phone call.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Otherwise, we assume there's a problem. Like if you're calling, it's immediate.
It's emergency.
Yeah.
Urgent.
Yeah.
Totally.
Although it really is nice to talk on the phone sometimes. So I think there's people who just call because they want to talk to you. That's beautiful. In that case, it's probably best to say, is it now a good time for a call?
Yeah.
Or do you want to chat or something to kind of give a heads up?
I think so too. Give an idea. There are
but don't call me, Sha.
Just don't call me.
I'm sorry. There are a few people.
If you called me, I would pick up.
You would not.
I'd think about it.
I'm going to test this out sometime next week. But actually, I probably won't because I hate the phone
what
too.
What are you going to do? And then I'll answer and you'll be like, oh. There are a few people I call on the phone, which is older generations. For example, my grandma.
Yep.
I'm not going to, she's not actually my grandma, but my grandma-like person.
Yeah. Yeah.
She is not going to ever text me.
No.
I don't know that she even knows how to text.
She might be calling, like picking up on a landline.
I think she probably has a landline.
Yeah.
For sure she has a landline.
Yeah.
And I call her.
Yeah.
Right? And because the point is to catch up.
Yes.
So it does make sense to.
Yeah. Yeah. With the older generation. But with my parents, we don't call, we video chat.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Through your phone.
Yeah. Yeah. So
nice.
it's a call, but it's
a video call.
Yeah. We see each other.
I think that reduces a lot of my phone dislike when you have I think part of what I don't like about talking on the phone is you're missing all that body language.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot of context that's missing.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're really lucky that we live in a time where we can just like talk like this, even if there's a device in between.
Even if we're opposite ends of the world.
Yeah. So just going back to landlines and teenagers and all these things, I have a vivid memory of what my phone looked like.
I wonder if it looked like the phone I had as a teenager.
I wonder.
I'm curious.
So for years and years, phones were like the rotary, it would go around, you'd tick, 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 tick. And I don't know how to explain that.
That was very clear.
Yeah. And then they went to digital phones. So you'd still plug them into the wall, but you'd beep, 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 beep. And then I remember being so excited when I got one that lit up. It was clear. The plastic case was clear. Same phone.
Yes, same phone. You could see all the insides.
Yes. And I had never seen circuits and like that inside, all the mechanics of that before. It was so cool. And they added these unnecessary lights, which would light up when the phone rang.
Yes.
I think they were a little bit popular.
I think they were popular.
What, like late 90s maybe?
90s, I think so. That's when I first had my own phone in my room. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was so fun.
That is fun.
You could turn off the ringer, but I don't think you could turn off the lights.
I don't remember if mine lit up extra.
When it rang?
It's been a couple of years. I mean, it must have.
It must have.
Anyway,
It was very fun.
very cool. Phones today aren't as cool looking necessarily, but they come with accessories that are fun.
Those kind of old phones.
Oh, no, I mean like the phone we use every day.
Cell phones.
A cell phone.
I think some people might say they might disagree. People who love phones
I
and
suppose.
technology might.
They look sleek,
Yeah, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about this more when I give you a call tomorrow to chat.
Or more likely when I call you and you don't pick up.
And we'll talk about nothing. It'll be great.
It'll be great.
I'll send you a text message. Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't pick up.
Yeah, that'll be it. That'll be the whole thing. Thanks for listening to another episode.
Find us on Instagram or YouTube to join the conversation.